Carl's situation was not looking good. Their home has been burglarized several times over the past few weeks. Carl was thinking about installing a new home security system when certain items in their house started disappearing. After that, his phone alerted him that there had been movement at home. Watching the live footage, he couldn't believe what he saw. Someone was lurking around his house. According to him, Ally was at work and their children were in college. At that time of day, nobody would be home. In order to determine whether the person was a resemblance of either of them, he watched carefully. Smartly, the person didn't show their face. However, they weren't smart enough to hide from another camera hidden in plain sight. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Several baffling incidents occurred in Carl Cook's house. The first thing that disappeared was a simple item, right from under their noses. Among the missing items were his wife's pearl earrings and a skillet from the kitchen. As the cook, Carl noticed it, since that was his favorite item in the kitchen. The refrigerator and kitchen cupboards also had several food items missing. A pack of ground beef seemed to have been in his refrigerator one morning, and it was for dinner. When they returned home in the evening, it was gone. Their house looked like someone had gone shopping in it. Both food and jewelry were taken. All the missing items were listed by Carl. He knew he wasn't going crazy. He had been brushed off far too much by his wife Ally. His confidence in his ability to convince her was enhanced once everything was written down. Then he noticed that some decor items were also out of place. His late mother had also given him a ceramic duck that went missing. It broke his heart when someone came into their house and stole the duck, which was very sentimental to him. One evening, he asked his wife if she noticed things had suddenly started going missing. As she looked at the list, he presented it to her. "Yes, I lost my grandmother's pearl earrings. I'm not happy because I loved those earrings a lot," she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. Investing in a good home security system will allow us to see what's going on. Hopefully, we will be able to catch the culprit red-handed if we have cameras recording what we cannot see, Carl replied. In agreement, Ally and he decided to buy an online security system. Carl set it up as soon as it arrived. Their most precious belongings were being stolen right under their noses, and he was tired of it. There was no doubt in his mind that it was happening while they were all at work, and he was determined to prove it. It was brazen of this person. Crimes were committed in broad daylight in full view of everyone to see. He even spoke to his neighbors, and none of them had seen anything suspicious. It baffled him to no end. Clearly, someone was very smart, and they were coming into their home undetected and stealing whatever they could get their hands on. But this time, Carl was ready for them. The security cameras were all set and placed in strategic places all around the house. Days turned into weeks as Carl and Ally anxiously waited for any sign of the mysterious intruder. Their daily lives continued with a cloud of suspicion hanging over them, each wondering if the thief could be someone they knew or a complete stranger. One evening, as Carl was at work and Ally was out shopping, the security system's alert pinged on his phone. His heart raced as he tapped into the live feed, revealing a figure inside their house. This time, however, the intruder's face was obscured by a hood. Carl's adrenaline surged as he watched the intruder move swiftly through their home. It was clear this person knew their way around, making quick and deliberate choices about what to steal. Carl knew he had to act fast if he wanted to catch them in the act. He sent a text message to Ally, telling her to return home immediately. Racing against time, he decided to head home himself, fearing that the intruder might escape before he arrived. When he finally made it home, he parked his car next door so as not to startle the criminal. He was going to walk in on the perpetrator without them even knowing it. His heart was beating so fast, thinking about whether the person inside his house was possibly armed. He could be walking into a very dangerous situation, and he had no backup. He went in through the back door, which led him through the kitchen. He listened carefully for any sounds, but he heard nothing out of the ordinary. The house was completely silent. He made his way upstairs to see if anyone was there, but to his dismay, it seemed the house was empty. He had just missed the culprit. Carl could have kicked himself. He was so close to finally apprehending the suspect, and he just wasn't quick enough. What did he have to do to catch this person? From what he saw in the footage, it was one person doing this, and the person was smart enough to conceal their face by putting a hood on. Carl voiced his concerns to Ally. "I was so close, honey, but it looks like we're dealing with a professional here. While I was parking the car, I could see on the footage that the person was still inside, but as soon as I went in, they were long gone. It's like Houdini himself was here." Allie assured her husband that they would catch the culprit one way or another. They just had to be very patient. Over the past few days, Carl noticed that there were no more security alerts. It seemed like the thief was lying low. He must have seen Carl come home and got spooked. At least they weren't being robbed anymore, and after a month, the burglaries stopped altogether. Carl and Allie breathed a sigh of relief, but were they celebrating too soon? But then, as Carl was driving home one evening, he was stopped at a red light when his phone started buzzing. It was a security alert. His heart started beating fast because he was only minutes away from home. This time, he was going to catch the thief red-handed. He was so sure of it. When Carl arrived, his heart pounded in his chest. He cautiously entered the house, making as little noise as possible. He heard noises coming from the kitchen and crept toward the source. There, he found the intruder rifling through the cabinets. With a surge of courage, Carl confronted the thief. "Who are you? What are you doing in my house?" he demanded. The hooded figure stopped dead in his tracks. He was caught now, and there was nowhere to run. Carl switched on the kitchen lights. The intruder turned, and for the first time, Carl saw a glimpse of their face. He couldn't believe his eyes. Never in his life would he have thought that this would happen. It was Allie's mother, Helen, her eyes wide with shock and guilt. "Helen, what are you doing here? Why are you dressed this way?" Carl demanded. A few minutes later, Allie arrived and was baffled at the scene unfolding right before her eyes. Could it really be true? Was Carl's mother-in-law, Helen, the culprit? Carl couldn't believe his eyes. Helen, his mother-in-law, had been the one stealing from them all along. He was too stunned to react as she stammered, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I had no choice." Allie's expression was a mix of confusion and disbelief as she saw her mother standing in the kitchen, caught red-handed by her own husband. Carl called the police. The police arrived shortly after, taking Helen into custody. As Helen was led away in handcuffs, Allie broke down in tears. She had no idea that her mother was behind the thefts that had plagued their home for weeks. The revelation tore at the fabric of their family, leaving a trail of heartbreak and betrayal. Helen's confession revealed a dark secret. She had fallen into deep financial trouble and had been stealing from her own daughter's family to cover her debts. She even stole their food because all of her money went toward paying her debts, and she, therefore, couldn't even afford food. The news was devastating, leaving Allie torn between loyalty to her mother and the betrayal she felt. She couldn't come to terms with the fact that her own mother would do this to them. Why hadn't she just spoken to them about it? In the aftermath of Helen's arrest, the family faced a challenging road ahead. They had to rebuild not only their stolen possessions but also the trust that had been shattered by the shocking revelation. Carl and Allie sought therapy to help them cope with the emotional turmoil caused by the betrayal. As for Helen, she faced legal consequences for her actions, including theft and breaking and entering. The court proceedings further strained the relationship between mother and daughter. Months passed, and the family tried to heal from the wounds caused by the betrayal. Helen expressed remorse for her actions and sought forgiveness from Allie, but their relationship remained strained. The trust that had once bound them had been broken, and it would take time to mend. It was hard for them to come to terms with what transpired. Helen had betrayed them a great deal. The family decided to sell their home, hoping that a fresh start in a new place would help them put the past behind them. It was a painful decision, as the house held many cherished memories, but it was a necessary step toward healing. They needed to start over because both Carl and Allie felt that their home had been violated. In their new home, Carl and Allie worked on rebuilding their lives and their trust in each other. They installed an even more advanced security system, determined never to let their guard down again. The wounds were deep, but with time and counseling, they began to mend. As for Helen, she faced the consequences of her actions, including probation and restitution. She continued to reach out to Allie, hoping for a chance at redemption and reconciliation. Their relationship remained fragile, but Allie struggled with the conflicting emotions of love for her mother and the hurt she had caused. The ordeal had taught the family a valuable lesson about trust, forgiveness, and the consequences of one's actions. While their lives had been upended by the betrayal, they were determined to move forward, hoping that time would eventually heal the wounds and mend the broken bonds of family.